A soldier stands on the limestone wall of Jerusalem, gripping a bronze spear so tightly, his knuckles strip white. It is a poetic way of saying, relax. Take a moment for yourself. Find your inner peace. We treat it as a gentle, pastoral suggestion. 185,000 bodies lay motionless in the dirt. God fought. The people watched. Dropping the weapon is the prerequisite to watching the Creator go to war. The physical Assyrian army is long gone. The ancient siege is over. The bronze spears have rusted into nothing. But that primal human reflex, the desperate, white-knuckled grip on our own survival, did not stay buried in the ancient Near East. The battlefield simply moved indoors, and the weapons look entirely different. You probably do not have a bronze spear leaning against your nightstand. You do not have an army of chariots parked on your front lawn, but you are still standing on the wall, staring out into the dark. You can feel the tension in the way your jaw clenches. When you look at the blue glow of your phone at 2 in the morning, you can feel it in the tightness of your chest. When you check an inbox, read a headline, or look at a bank statement, you are vibrating with the same primal adrenaline as the ancient defender, bracing for an impact you are convinced is coming. The modern weapons of survival are invisible, but they are incredibly heavy. We grip our carefully curated contingency plans. We grip our career trajectories. We grip our medical charts, our children's futures, for the overwhelmed modern soul. But if you look closer at the historical reality giving birth to this poem, at the raw Hebrew letters hiding beneath, the complex spreadsheets mapping out the next 5 years of our fragile lives, we build fortified walls out of savings accounts, optimized health routines, and endless backup options. We lay awake in the dark, calculating every possible disaster scenario, desperately trying to outmaneuver the chaos of simply being human. This modern exhaustion is not a schedule management problem. It is the collateral damage of playing God. When you refuse to let your hands drop, you are making a silent, theological declaration. You are operating under the assumption that you are the only force holding your personal universe together. If you blink, the walls crumble. If you rest, the enemy breaches the gate. If you stop fighting for your own security, everything you love will be reduced to ash. So you hold the line. You keep typing, calculating, producing. You absorb the sheer terror of mortality into the muscles of your neck and back, until your physical body begins to break down under the weight of it. The command in Psalm 46 cuts straight through this frantic modern religion. God is looking at your white-knuckled grip on your own timeline. He sees the heavy, invisible armor you wear into every meeting, every doctor's appointment, and every difficult conversation. He sees the sheer terror driving your obsessive need to control tomorrow. And he says, Rapha, our polished English, you start to see something the tranquil reading completely misses. The original audience wasn't sitting in a quiet room. They were trapped in. Drop the illusion. Let the frantic planning go slack. Stop trying to barricade a door you were never meant to guard. But dropping the weapon is terrifying. Your biological instinct rebels against it. When the world feels like it is melting, and the mountains are actively falling into the sea, letting your hands drop feels like a guarantee of your own destruction. If you let go, what catches you? The answer to that fear is hiding in the second half of the verse. And to understand it, we have to look at one more Hebrew word and the ancient scene where it actually belongs. The bronze spear hits the limestone. The heavy leather shield drops in the dust. A Judean soldier stands defenseless on the ancient wall. The cold wind bites his face. He exhales a shallow, shaking breath. He waits for the arrows to pierce his chest. He expects the Assyrian breach. He expects the end of his life. But the end does not come. Instead, the voice delivers the second half of the command, and know that I am God. We read the word know, and we think of data. We think of memorized verses. We think of a neat, organized theology. We treat it as an intellectual exercise to calm our nerves. But the Hebrew verb here is yada, a besieged city, starving, watching the greatest war machine in human history line up to slaughter them. This text is not a spa slogan. It It appears over 900 times in the Old Testament. Its range of meaning is not intellectual. It is visceral. It is intimate. It is deeply experiential. It is the word used in Genesis when Adam knew his wife Eve. It is the word used in Amos when God tells Israel they are the only family he has ever known. It is the exact word David uses in Psalm 139 when he cries out, "O Lord, you have searched me and known me." Yada is not about collecting information. It is about a naked, unprotected encounter. That ancient root changes everything about this battlefield. The knowledge of God is not a theology textbook. It is a lived reality. You cannot yada someone from a safe, guarded distance. You cannot experience God's power while you are frantically wielding your own. You have to drop the bronze. You have to expose your chest. You have to let the protective walls collapse. Look at how the text links the actions. The two verbs are permanently chained together. Rafa. Then yada. Drop the weapon. Then experience the rescue. Go slack. Then see the deliverance. Surrender control. Then know the commander. If your hands are full of your own heavy armor, you cannot receive the rescue he is bringing, is a military command. God is not offering a bumper sticker. He is intervening in a crisis. He is addressing something primal about human nature. If your mind is consumed with calculating the geometry of your own survival, you cannot perceive the divine. If you are blindly swinging your own iron, you cannot watch him win the war. The command to drop the weapon is not a punishment. It is a prerequisite. God is not asking the soldiers to give up. He is asking them to step back. He is saying, "Drop your spear, so you can see mine." When the earth gives way, and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, human effort is a mathematical zero. The Assyrian army is too large. The chaos is too deep. The end is too certain. But God stands in the center of the melting earth. He does not shake. He does not falter. He demands the stillness, so you can finally yada his strength. But how does that terrifying ancient surrender translate to the modern panic sitting in your own chest today? But maybe the part that stays with me most is the physical weight of the iron. We spend decades convinced that if we just grip the bronze spear hard enough, if we just build a thicker limestone wall, we can keep the chaos out of our personal lives. We carry a deep, vibrating exhaustion in our shoulders and our jaw when it is pushed to the absolute brink of destruction. To feel the weight of this verse, you have to scrape away centuries of cross-stitching, quietly believing it is the necessary price of keeping our families safe and our futures secure. We wake up in the pitch-black silence of our bedrooms with our hands cramped from holding together a universe we did not create. We scroll through our phones, bathing our faces in that cold blue light, searching for one more piece of data that might give us the illusion of certainty. This exhaustion is not a badge of honor. It is a slow death by self-reliance. If you are in a season where the earth feels like it is giving way beneath your feet, where a sudden medical diagnosis, a financial collapse, or a fractured relationship feels exactly like an enemy siege camping in your front yard, God is not asking you to fight harder. He is not asking you to invent a brilliant diplomatic strategy to negotiate your way out of the panic. He is asking you to Rafa. He is inviting you into the terrifying, counterintuitive act of letting your hands go completely slack. He wants you to drop the heavy, carefully curated spreadsheets. He wants you to let the frantic contingency plans fall into the dust. He wants you to stand defenseless before the God who actually commands the celestial armies. Letting go of that control feels incredibly dangerous. And step back into the dust of the ancient Near East. You have to look at what happens when the earth literally gives way and, to a mind addicted to survival, your pulse will race. Your instincts will scream at you to pick the weapon back up. You will feel completely exposed to the arrows of every worst-case scenario your brain can possibly generate. But that exposure is exactly where the transformation happens. You cannot yada a God of peace while you are violently maintaining your own defense mechanisms. You cannot know the rescue of heaven while your hands are full of your own armor. The ancient Judeans had to listen to the Assyrian war drums and choose to do absolutely nothing. You have to look at the mounting bills, the terrifying medical chart, or the agonizing silence of a broken relationship, and choose to stop playing the savior. You have to let the weapon hit the stone. You have to let the tension drain from your muscles. Because when you step back and trace this divine strategy through the centuries, you start to realize this was never just about one city and one ancient king. The strategy of heaven has not changed since the limestone walls of Jerusalem. The prerequisite for the rescue is still the surrender. A trapped nation stared at the edge of the sea, and the waters tore open. A terrified city watched an invincible army, and an angel walked into the camp. The mountains fall into the heart of the sea. Because when the voice speaks in the middle of this psalm, he is not whispering to. A builder heard the rumors of his enemies, and the stone wall was finished. A celestial being held a drawn sword, and the voice commanded the iron to drop. A desperate king laid a threat on the temple floor, and heaven answered in the dark. A modern mind spins a frantic contingency plan, and the ancient invitation to surrender remains. A human hand grips the heavy illusion of control, and the God of the universe commands it to let go. Same command, same God. Your exhaustion is not a requirement for your survival. Your frantic defense is not the force holding your world together. He is not asking you to be strong enough to win the war. He is asking you to be still enough to watch him fight it. And may the God who has never once lost a battle walk with you through your personal siege and bring you out carrying a peace you could not have engineered any other way. If this opened something in you, subscribe, leave a comment, even one word helps. Share this with someone who is carrying a heavy weapon they desperately need to drop. Pray for us as we keep digging into these texts. A monk in a serene garden. He is shouting over the chaotic din of an active battlefield. The real question of Psalm 46 isn't, can you find time to be quiet? It's this: what weapon are you gripping that you refuse to drop? And to figure out why, 23. Below him, the valley is black with smoke. It is choked with the ash of 46 burning Judean cities and filled with the deafening roar. You are holding it so tightly. You have to look at the army gathering outside the gates. We are a species obsessed with curation. When we find an ancient text that feels too heavy, too jagged, or too violent for our modern sensibilities, we sand down the edges. We strip away the context, lift the words out of the dirt, and place them somewhere clean. We take the raw, terrifying words of the Hebrew prophets and reduce them to decorative fonts on soft linen pillows. This is exactly what has happened to the 46th Psalm. If you wander through any modern Christian bookstore, you will find this verse printed next to images of placid lakes and misty forests. The air in those spaces smells like vanilla and lavender. The lighting is soft. The implicit message is that God is inviting you to a spiritual retreat. We read "Be still," and we instinctively translate it as a command to clear our schedules, to silence our phones, to sit in a comfortable chair and let our heart rates drop. We have domesticated the divine roar. But look at the architecture of the psalm itself. Before we ever get to verse 10, the poet spends 9 verses of 100,000 Assyrian warriors beating their shields in perfect, terrifying rhythm. The wind shifts, and the night air smells heavy with blood. Sweat, constructing a world that is actively falling apart. The ground is shaking beneath their feet. The waters are roaring and foaming. Mountains are collapsing into the sea. Nations are in uproar. Kingdoms are falling. And the earth is melting. This is not a picture of a busy Tuesday. It is a picture of an apocalypse. The writer is describing a level of geopolitical and natural chaos that shatters any illusion of control. It is the ancient equivalent of watching the news while the sirens wail outside your window. The people hearing this poem are not struggling with overbooked calendars or mild anxiety. They are staring down the barrel of mass extinction. The Assyrian Empire is marching through the Levant, flaying their enemies alive and piling their skulls outside city gates. The quietness God demands here is not a spa treatment. It is an act of treason against human instinct. When your world is actively collapsing, every biological imperative screams at you to do something. To run, to fight, to build a wall, to hoard supplies, to panic. The adrenaline floods your bloodstream, and scorched earth. The ground vibrates under his leather sandals. He is terrified, his chest tight with the kind of panic that makes it hard. Your muscles tense. Your mind races to calculate the geometry of survival. You grip whatever weapon you can find, whether it is a physical spear, an ironclad financial portfolio, or a desperate narrative of control. And right at the crescendo of this global panic attack, God speaks. He does not offer a breathing exercise. He does not suggest a moment of silent reflection. He issues a command that defies human biology. And to understand what he actually says, you have to look past the English translation and step onto the front lines of an ancient war. The year is 701 BC. The Assyrian war machine surrounds Jerusalem. King Sennacherib brings a monster to the gates. His empire does not just defeat enemies, it erases them. 46 Judean cities already lie in ashes. Lachish, to the heavily fortified stronghold to the south, is gone. Smoke fills the horizon. The wind shifts. The smell of burning timber and scorched earth drifts over the city walls of Jerusalem. Inside the capital, people starve. Rations drop. Fear spreads in the dark. They listen to the sounds in the valley below. The rhythmic thud of marching boots, the crack of leather whips, the metallic clash of thousands of bronze shields locking together to pull air into his lungs. He is waiting for the king to do something. He is waiting for an order. The Assyrian envoy stands near the wall. He shouts in Hebrew so every citizen can hear. He mocks their king. He mocks their God. He promises them a slow, agonizing siege. This is not a negotiation. It is an execution. Listen to the poetry the psalmist uses to capture this moment. He describes geopolitical terror as a total ecological collapse. The earth gives way. The mountains fall into the heart of the sea. The waters roar. The waters foam. The mountains quake with their surging. Nations are in uproar. Kingdoms fall. The earth melts. The phrasing is violent. The verbs are rapid. The imagery is cataclysmic. Everything stable is fracturing. Everything solid is liquefying. When an unstoppable army marches against your home, the world literally feels like it is ending. The ground beneath your feet ceases to hold you. Adrenaline floods the city. Mothers hide their children in the deepest parts of the limestone caves. Soldiers grip their spears until their hands cramp. They brace for impact. They prepare to die. King Hezekiah tears his royal robes. He covers his skin in rough sackcloth. He walks into the temple. He takes the enemy's threatening letter and spreads it out on the cold stone floor before the altar. He begs for a miracle. Thousands of years later, you can find the order he received printed on coffee mugs in pastel cursive. You can find it painted on pieces. He begs for divine intervention. He needs a battle plan. He needs a cavalry. He needs the sky to tear open. He prepares his men to fight. They sharpen iron. They reinforce the gates. They lock their jaws and hold the line. And right there, at the absolute peak of human panic, God finally speaks. He does not send a military strategy. He does not offer a diplomatic solution. He sends verse 10. A single command drops into the chaos. But the English translation hides the sheer audacity of what God is actually demanding. To feel the shockwave of this moment, you have to look at the exact Hebrew verb the voice uses to stop the war. We read Psalm 46. Verse 10. We picture a solitary believer sitting by a placid lake, opening a leather-bound Bible, trying to quiet their anxious thoughts. But the word our English translations render as "be still" is the Hebrew verb rapha. It appears 46 times in the Old Testament, and its range of meaning is deeply physical. The root word rapha means to slacken, to let down, or to release. It describes the physical action of tension leaving the body, of going completely limp. In an active military context, which Psalm 46 undeniably is, it means to let your hands drop to your sides. It means to drop your weapon. If hearing an ancient text, stripped of its modern varnish, of reclaimed wood in suburban living rooms, you can see it stamped onto leather bookmarks in the local bookstore. or overlaid on pictures of Misty, is stirring up something inside of you. You're exactly who this channel is for. Drop a thought in the comments and hit subscribe, because every week we go deeper into the text than you knew was possible. So look at how this exact verb functions in the rest of the ancient text. In Nehemiah chapter 6, the Israelites are rebuilding the wall of Jerusalem while surrounded by hostile armies. Their enemies spread rumors to terrify the builders, hoping their hands will rafa, hoping they will drop their heavy stonemason tools in fear and abandon the wall. In 2 Samuel Jugofira, a destroying angel stands over Jerusalem with a drawn sword, bringing a devastating plague upon the city. God finally stops the destruction with a single, authoritative command to the celestial being. It is enough. Now rafa your hand. Drop the sword. Let the iron fall to the stone. That root changes everything. When God speaks into the chaos of the Assyrian siege, the text literally carries the image of tense muscles going entirely slack. He is looking at soldiers vibrating with adrenaline, gripping their bronze spears until their knuckles turn white, desperately trying to calculate how to survive the apocalypse. He tells them to snap out of it. The stillness is not a breathing exercise. It is a surrender. God is commanding them to release their white-knuckled grip on their own salvation. Mountains on social media feeds. Be still and know that I am God. Most people read that sentence and see a deep breath. He is telling them to stop trying to fight a war they cannot possibly win by human strength. And the only way a soldier can let a weapon hit the dirt while the enemy is actively screaming at the gates is if he knows something deeply specific about the commander giving the order. Water closes in on one side. The iron wheels of Pharaoh's chariots rattle in the desert sand on the other. A trapped nation panics on the edge of the sea. Moses speaks into the howling wind. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Centuries later, a vast coalition of enemy armies marches against King Jehoshaphat. A trapped nation weeps on the cold stone floor of the temple. The prophet shouts over the echo of their crying, "You will not need to fight in this battle. Stand firm." And now, the Assyrian war machine surrounds a starving city. A trapped nation trembles behind locked wooden gates. The psalmist sings into the terror. Drop your weapons. Let your hands go slack. Same pattern. Same God. Same impossible command. Imagine the physical, bodily act of obedience required on that limestone wall in Jerusalem. The torches burn like a sea of fire in the valley below. The war drums beat so loudly you can feel them vibrating in your own teeth. They see an invitation to a quiet morning. A warm cup of coffee. A temporary escape from the noise of an exhausting life. We assume. The sweat stings the eyes of the defenders. Every muscle is coiled to strike. Every breath is shallow and sharp. And then, the order comes down the line. Open your hands. Let the bronze clatter against the stone. Let the heavy leather shields fall into the dust. Let the iron drop. A soldier unclenches his cramped, aching fingers. He lowers his arms. He exposes his chest to the barrage of enemy arrows. He stands completely defenseless in the face of absolute destruction. This is not a failure of courage. It is a declaration of trust. When you let the weapon fall, a dangerous illusion shatters. You finally admit that your sharpened iron, your reinforced walls, and your desperate strategies were never going to be enough to save you in the first place. You stop pretending you are the savior of your own story. And the exact moment the Judean hands go slack, heaven opens. The historical record tells us the angel of the Lord walks into the Assyrian camp under the cover of darkness. No Judean soldier swings a sword. No archer pulls a taut bowstring. No cavalry charges down the hill. When the sun rises over Jerusalem the next morning, the greatest army on earth is a silent graveyard.